there, model fans. Welcome back to Richard's Toy Room once again. And what we have for you today is another plastic model kit review and build. This is as far as I know, a current model. I got this for Christmas, I think. I believe it's still available as of the time of this video. It's the Smokey and the Bandit version of this Trans Am. It's as you can see it's a Revell model kit. And it's a 77 Pontiac Firebird. So I guess, technically maybe it's not a Trans Am? I thought it was a Trans Am. But they're calling it a Firebird. Anyway, I'm not an expert, so I don't know 100% sure what the difference is between Trans Am and Firebird. Maybe the engine, maybe a option package or something, but for some reason I was always under the impression that this was a Trans Am. But that remains to be seen. Maybe there are Trans Am badges and stuff in this kit. I really don't know. Anyway, I'm kind of babbling. So, Revell usually makes a pretty good kit. I would say probably up there with Mobius. I mean, as far as kits that I personally built, they would probably be pretty close to equal for the most part. I don't know the history of this kit. I don't know how old the molds are for it. That information is available online if you're really curious about that. I believe the model site that tells all that is Scalemates. And they got pretty much every model kit that is known to exist in there. Anyhow, take a quick look at the box here. It's got a picture. To me, it looks like the model kit, and they're trying to kind of make it look realistic, but it's obviously a plastic kit. Here's the side view. There's not a whole lot of pieces in this kit, actually. There's only 89 pieces, but I did take a look at it beforehand, and it looks like a pretty nice kit. Now, I did read on a forum somewhere online, someone had made a comment that putting the front clip on was finicky, but I did a dry fit test with the part still on the tree, and it went right on. It looked perfect to me, so maybe the guy had a funky kit or something. But I usually save this for last, but since I was talking about it and grabbed it, I will show you the body itself. Molded pretty nice. It's got a hood with the hinge on it, so you can display it open. That's nice. That's always kind of cool. It wasn't on there when it was in the box. I put it on there just to see what it would look like. It obviously needs to be trimmed. It's a little finicky fit when it's got flash and stuff on it. But it's got a lot of detail on it. And it's a screw chassis body, oddly enough. The AMT that I just finished had a screw chassis, which was indicative of a former promo model. And that's the way they used to put them together back in like the 60s, 70s when they did promo kits. There was 4 screws in them. And this has screws, but they're tiny. They're like half, if not a quarter, of the size of the ones that were in the AMT kit. And I've never seen a Revell with a screw together chassis to the body. So usually I find those fit really nice, but Revells usually fit pretty nice as it is. So let's take a look at all the white pieces that are in the kit. Yeah, I'm doing things a little out of order than I normally do. Let's make things a little different, huh? Here's the chassis. Gas tank's molded in. You do get a separate exhaust system with it, and some separate suspension components. You also get a separate interior floor pan. This looks a little bit warped here, but I don't think it'll be a problem once you glue it in place. Made in China, of course. some engine and wheel parts. Oh, and they also give you a Bandit hat that you can put on the front seat or wherever you want to put it. Optional. And speaking of seats, here's the seats and door panels and dashboard. They give you a separate gauge. It's in chrome, and then they give you a decal that goes behind it. No clear lens, but I've got ways around that. What I usually do for that is I use this stuff, and I make my own. I put a couple drops in and make it look like it's got glass lenses on gauges and stuff like that. Just those little kind of details add up, you know. Here's the piece of the front suspension frame. The intake manifolds. Here's some engine parts and exhaust. Here's that front clip I was talking about down here. And looks like the hood scoop and some mirrors. I'm not sure what those other two parts are there right off the top of my head. And lastly, you got your rear axle with the drive shaft attached and the springs attached, some radiator and firewall and shroud and pulley parts, things like that. Chrome parts, there's two small trees. You get rims and looks like I was mentioning, the cluster. I'm trying to see what else is on here. Just some miscellaneous parts, but here's a look at this one. And then here you got your, I believe this is the front and the rear for the taillights and the grille. And then, again, not sure what those are, possibly door handles and a license plate and the rear view mirror. A couple other pieces on there. Clear pieces. Yet, oops, I didn't open that one. Yeah, there's no need to. Looks like a washer bottle and the T-tops, which I'm probably going to leave off because they should be tinted, and I don't really have any tinted paint or anything like that to tint these. So I was probably going to make it as the open T-top anyway, so not a big deal. And then, of course, you got your one-piece front and rear glass, and then the tail lens here, which you're probably going to have to paint red because there's no red plastic. And I'm guessing these are the front headlights or something here. And then you get, here's the tiny little screws I was telling you about, plus the two front axle pins and the rear solid axle, metal axle. And lastly, you got 4 no-name tires. And they are hollow and somewhat flexible, but would have been nice if they maybe made some white letter tires or something for it, but you get what you get. It's got very detailed tread on it, but like I said, no sidewall detail at all. 4 of those are matching. A really detailed decal set. This looks like it's going to be kind of fun to put on. Hopefully it works as well as the Hearst Olds or whatever that was I did over a while back. All those decals went on pretty good. So, and that was a Revell kit, I believe. And so I'm hoping, since these are really going to make or break the look of the kit after, especially the Screamin' Chicken, hoping they go on well. And lastly, which I usually do first, I'm just going to briefly cover the instruction manual. It is your typical booklet, stapled from Revell. Calls out all the parts, and you do your engine, interior, chassis, Your engine compartment parts, put your glass in, body to frame, underneath parts, put your wheels and front rear bumpers and stuff like that on, final touches, hood and air cleaner, and then decal instruction placement. And that's it. It's everything in the kit. So we'll get started on that. And I am going to do it in black since it's Smokey and the Bandit and I want it to look right. Plus the decals are gold, so those mostly go well with black. So just crossing my fingers that I get a good paint job. So stay tuned, we'll be back. Okay, we're going to do a real quick update here. I apologize for the noise in the background, but I'm doing something on the 3D printer and I can't turn it off. So hopefully it's not drowning me out. I don't think it is. It's just probably just a little bit of annoying noise in the background. But anyhow, I just wanted to show you where we are at this point. So we basically have the whole chassis done here. This is the underneath looking right now. I mean, we'll be putting like the exhaust on and you know, the rest of the suspension and you know, the rear axle and all that. Pretty quick right now. I'll give you a look on the inside. We did the Bandit Stetson hat there. It shows to put it on a seat like that, so that's what I did. And basically all the paint that we're looking at here is either Rust-Oleum or Krylon spray cans. And you know, obviously some of the, you know, details are from other. Right here you want to take a look there. See what you think. That's the engine compartment and the interior. Since you won't really be able to get a really good look at that once all the body and everything on, which is exactly what is the next step. So far, everything has gone together beautifully. I mean, no problems whatsoever. So, and paint came out pretty good. I'm going to see if I can maybe just kind of give it a little polish or something or wax it. I'm just kind of nervous because of all the decals that have to go on it, so I don't want to go too aggressive on anything, plus I don't want to screw it up. So you see I have the glass in. That's basically what it looks like from inside. So, like I said, paint didn't come out too bad. I'd be happy with it just like this, but I'm going to see if I can maybe shine it up just a little bit more. So anyway, like I said, this goes on next, and these little screws here are what hold the body to the frame, and then we start putting the rest of it together. And actually, there's not really that much more left. It's mostly detailing and all those decals. So I will cut this short again because of that 3D printer noise, but thanks for watching so far, and I'm thinking, unless I run into a problem, or I might want to show you something with the decals, or a detail, I will probably do the final reveal after this. Okay, so a little quickie update here. Pretty much got to the point where I'm about to start putting all these decals on. Started separating them. And there's two things that I wanted to point out and one thing that I wanted to mention. First thing was this kit should have been, from all the information that I could find looking up pictures and stuff for this vehicle online, you know, the actual car from the movie, should have been an actual Trans Am. Now, I don't know why they made this just the Firebird and not the Trans Am, or at least that's what they're calling it, because everything I've seen looks just like what a Trans Am would be. I'm not 100% sure what the difference would be, or if there was an issue with the Trans Am name that they couldn't use for some reason, but this should have Trans Am logos like up, you know, in the fenders here, and I forget where else, but I noticed that for sure. And they're not included in the kit, and it doesn't refer to it. Even says right on the decals, Firebird. So I'm not sure what the reason was for that. Anyway, there's nothing I could do about it, but I just thought I'd mention it. On the taillights, they came clear, if you remember. And what I did was I back painted with stoplight red paint for the rear taillights. And then I went over the back of it with the Molotow chrome pen to give it some, you know, reflective properties. And I did the same thing for the backup lenses, which are right next to the red part. And then, technically on the car, around each of these segments, if you can see where I did black on the lines that are horizontal, a very thin chrome strip is supposed to be present. There's no way that I could duplicate that, so this is the best it's going to end up having to be. Lastly, this also has a lot of gold in place of what would have been chrome on, you know, I would say like your standard Firebird or whatever. And so this was, of course, all molded in chrome. And the easiest way I found to do that was basically to spray the whole thing gold, and then to go back with a toothpick, you can use your fingernail, whatever, and rub off down to the back to the chrome the parts that you wanted to be silver chrome. And so that's what I did with this grill part, because you know, a lot of it was supposed to have gold accents. So that's just a little tip there, how to do that. You could also go over it with the chrome pen if you wanted to, but since the paint doesn't stick that well to chrome, I mean it does, but I mean it's very susceptible to scratches and damage. So you have to be really careful with it after. But that's the easiest way. You just basically flake the chrome off carefully, and or flake the paint off carefully and reveal the chrome underneath. I also painted in the insets of the door handles from pictures I found they should be black. It's Revell, so the decals, I've never really had a problem with Revell decals, so I'm not anticipating any. I already started with a couple and they went on beautifully, so I'm hoping this will turn out nice. So, and the last thing was I really wanted to put white letter tires on this thing, but as you can see, they just come black wall. I didn't have any that were this size in my spare parts, and I didn't feel like searching out any for the car, but it would look a lot better with black or with white letter tires. All right, well, it's only been a fraction of a second for you, but it's literally been months for me. Now, I've had this done since not too long after I shot the last segment, but I just got so sidetracked with so many other things, one of those being converting all my DVDs into my own personal kind of Netflix thing, and that's really been taking up a lot of my time. But I don't know, I just kept putting it off. Good gosh. Anyway, so finally here we are with the final reveal, and it came out really nice. Now, I did run into just a few minor little issues. So before we put it up on the rotating platform, let me just point those out. I did have one teeny weeny little issue with a gap between the nose cone and the body. I remember earlier in the video I had said I didn't have an issue, but I think once you stacked all those things behind there that went between, say, the radiator and the front bumper, it did actually cause a minor issue. So there's, I mean, on the real car, I mean, there's a gap there anyway, not a huge one, but you know, in scale wise, it's too much. But I mean, it's not that bad, honestly. Had I realized that it would have left a gap like that, maybe I would have approached it a little bit more. Anyhow, the only other real problem I had was this hood scoop. When I put it in, and then I put the body and the hood on, it was almost level with the hood, which is not how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be able to see it popped up through the hood so you can actually read the decals and stuff on the side. So what I did was I just put a spacer on top of the carburetor, and it's not visible once everything's in the car, but I did that to bring it up so that it looks proper when as it does now. And the only other thing that I made a mistake with was on the front. You'll probably see it in the close-up on the turntable, but one of the decals, looking on the instruction sheet, was a little confusing, and I ended up putting it on the bumper here where it does not belong. It actually is supposed to go down here on the little air dam to match up with the decals that go over the wheels. And so what I ended up doing was I left it on there because I didn't want to take it off the bumper, and I used the decals that were supposed to be used to go across this gap where the T-tops go, and I cut them and put them down here where they're supposed to go because they're basically the same size and shape decal. And that's it. So I did add a little gold on the little louvers here that I saw on one of the pictures online. So I thought that matched because there was pinstriping on those on the ones I saw online. And yeah, this did not come with any Firebird or Trans Am badging, and as far as I can tell, it should really be a Trans Am. So let's get it up on that platform and say la vie. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you come back for more videos.